Welcome to Krishnastips. Explore Lord Sri Krishna's divine teachings in the Bhagavad Gita, a timeless wisdom for humanity.
Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 6. Dhyana Yoga, the Yoga of Meditation and Self-Control. Sri Bhagavan said, "He who does his duty without expecting the fruit of actions is a sannyasi and a yogi. Not those who have merely renounced the sacred fire or abandoned bodily activities. Know that what renunciation thus they say yoga, O Arjuna, O Pandava, the son of Pandu, for certainly no one becomes a yogi without giving up the worldly desires. To the soul who aspires for perfection in yoga, work without attachment is said to be the means. To the learned who is already elevated in yoga, calmness in meditation is said to be the means. When one has no attachment to the sense objects nor to the actions, then such a person is said to have been elevated in the science of yoga, having renounced all desires for the fruits of actions. Elevate yourself through the power of your mind, and not degrade yourself, for the mind can certainly be the friend and also the enemy of the self. For those who have conquered the mind, certainly the mind is their friend. For those who have failed to do so, with an unconquered mind the mind remains like an enemy. The person who has conquered the mind rise above the dualities of cold and heat, joy and sorrow, and honor and dishonor. Such yogi remains peaceful and steadfast in the devotion to God. Those who are fully satisfied with knowledge, jnana, and realized knowledge, wisdom from within, vijnana, who have conquered their senses, remain undisturbed in all circumstances, are in constant communion with the Supreme, thus is said yogi. Seeing everything as equal, pebbles, stones, gold. One who looks upon all, well-wishers, friends, foes, neutral persons, mediators, the envious, relatives, the pious as well as the sinners, with an impartial intellect is considered to be distinguished. A yogi should remain self-engaged in meditation, constantly remaining in seclusion, remaining alone, with a controlled mind and body free from desires for possessions. In a clean place, having established steadfast seat for himself, that is not too high not too low, with a cloth, a deerskin, cush grass, one over the other. There with one pointed focused mind, having controlled the mind, senses, activities, being seated on the seat, should strive to practice yoga for purification of the mind. Straight body, head, neck, holding, unmoving, still, gazing at the tip of the own nose direction and not looking elsewhere. Serene mind, fearless, situated in the vow of celibacy, having controlled the mind, meditate on me, Lord Sri Krishna. Such engaged should sit having me as the supreme goal. Thus, constantly keeping the mind focused on God, the yogi of a disciplined mind attains liberation from the material bondage, and abides in me, Lord Sri Krishna, in supreme peace. O Arjuna, certainly yoga is not for those who eat too much or don't eat at all, sleep too much or don't sleep enough. With moderate eating, recreation, balanced in work, regulated sleep and wakefulness, yoga becomes the slayer of sorrows. When fully controlled, the mind of the self certainly stays free from all cravings for yearning of the senses, thus is said then to be situated in perfect yoga. As a lamp in a windless place does not flickers, this analogy is considered of a yogi, whose mind is disciplined, steadily practicing in meditation on the Supreme. When rejoice inner joy, the mind restrained by the practice of yoga, when and certainly through the purified mind the soul behold in the self is satisfied. Transcending the senses which that intellect grasp, knows the limitless happiness, wherein never and certainly he situated ever deviates from the eternal truth. And having gained that state in which one does not consider any attainment to be greater, then being thus established, one is not shaken even by the greatest sorrow. That you should know state of severance from union with misery is known as yoga. That should be resolutely practiced yoga with an undeviating mind. A resolve born of all desires having been abandoned completely through the mind, certainly restraining the group of senses from all sides. By the intellect achieved through determination of resolve that is in accordance with the scriptures fixed in God, mind having made not anything even should think of gradually attains peace. Whenever and wherever the restless, unsteady mind wanders, one should bring it back and continually focus it on God. The highest bliss certainly comes to the yogi whose mind is peaceful, whose passions are subdued, who is without sin, and who endowed with God realization sees everything in connection with him. A yogi free from sins, thus always constantly uniting the self with God, in touch with the Supreme, easily attains the highest bliss. A yogi united in consciousness with God, sees with equal vision, sees God everywhere, situated in all living beings, and all living beings in one Supreme Soul. Who see me everywhere, and in me see everything, for him I not lost, and nor that person lost to me. Seeing me as situated in all beings, a yogi who worships me established in unity, although present he always dwells in me. Who sees equally everywhere, as similar to oneself, Arjuna, joy or if sorrow, such a yogi is considered highest. Arjuna said, this system of yoga, which has been described by you by equanimity, O Lord Shri Krishna, O Madhusudana, the killer of the demon named Madhu, of this I do not see or gain understanding due to the restlessness of the ongoing situation. O Lord Shri Krishna, mind is restless, it's obstinate, strong, turbulent, I think difficult to perform control like of the wind. Sri Bhagavan said, undoubtedly, O Arjuna, O Mahabaho, the mighty armed one, the mind is difficult to restrain, is restless, O son of Kunti, but by practice and by detachment can be controlled. For one whose mind is unbridled, yoga is difficult to attain, thus is my opinion, but by one whose mind is controlled, for the one who strives, it is possible to achieve by right means. Arjuna said, O Lord Shri Krishna, one whose mind becomes deviated from yoga, possessed with lax faith, failing to attain the highest perfection in yoga, goes to which destination? Whether not, one both confused, deviated from the path of God realization, perishes like a broken cloud without any support, O Krishna, O Mahabaho, the mighty armed one. O Lord Shri Krishna, certainly never is fit a dispeller other than you to dispel this doubt of mine, you can completely dispel my doubt. Sri Bhagavan said, O Arjuna, there is no destruction for him in this world, nor hereafter in the next world, certainly my friend, one who strives for God realization, anyone never goes to evil destination. After dwelling many ages of the virtuous attain abodes, the unsuccessful yogis take birth in the house of the prosperous, of the pious. Else certainly take birth of those endowed with divine wisdom. In the family of the wise, this birth like this, certainly is very rare in this world. There from the previous lives that obtains reawaken their wisdom, and thereafter strives again for perfection, O Arjuna, descendant of the Kurus. That person, although helplessly, surely is attracted certainly by that past discipline. Inquisitive even about yoga, transcends fruitive portion of the Vedas. A yogi, purified from material desires, endeavoring and with great effort attain perfection after many, many births, then attains the highest path. A yogi is superior than the ascetics and even considered superior than the persons of learning. A yogi is superior than the ritualistic performers, therefore, just become a yogi, O Arjuna. Of all yogis, however, all types are absorbed in me, God, from inside with the mind. One who with great faith engages in devotion to me, he is considered to be the highest yogi by me. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hence completes the chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga, the yoga of meditation and self-control, in Shrimad Bhagavad Gita.